We are live. So what's going on, guys? How you guys all doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we're here with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over what's been my life for the last month and a half, and that is Raids 2. Ever since I died on my Iron Man, I really knew that I wanted to get back into Raids, and that was something I was going to try. I really did like Raids 1, but I got into it too late. So in this video I'm going to be going over my experiences thus far, and a lot of information to what you can expect if you're someone that hasn't come to Theater of Blood yet, or you're just coming and really looking forward to the grind that it is. So we'll start with a short explanation of the theater itself. If you haven't looked into it, Be the Victim has a great guide, and you can find that down below if you're looking to really start to do some raids. But as far as an overview of it, I guess there are 5 more endurance bosses that lead up to a final boss. The 5 endurance bosses have some game mechanics that can allow you to die and wipe as a team, so it is somewhat challenging. However, once you get to higher KC, you really should have an understanding as far as how it works, and you shouldn't be all too troubled by it. I find that people with less than 30 KC can definitely die and very often wipe on these bosses, but once you get past that threshold, it really shouldn't be all too much of a hassle for you. With the hardest boss being the final one, that is Verzik, where pretty much anyone is capable to die. You could have any KC and die at Verzik, but people really start to get good at it once they have over 100 KC. It's something that gets really good with practice, and since it's the last boss of the raid, you don't get to practice it all the time, so it's one that people struggle to pick up on. A couple things I'll say whenever you're starting to learn the raids is obviously watch a guide, as I said before, but focus a lot on what you're doing and what your intentions are in a raid. Don't focus on your teammates. Don't worry about what they're doing. Just know what you have to do and do it well. In addition to that, I know telling people not to get nervous isn't very easy, but for Verzik, it's something that if you are nervous, it's going to be very hard for you to pick up on what's going on. So just kind of lose yourself in the clicking motion. Just understand how game ticks work, and just kind of try to focus as much as you can on the game ticks rather than anything else outside of that. Now, up until 100 KC, I really don't find it all that easy to get teams that are, really good and know what they're doing. Anyone under 100 KC almost just seems like a gamble, you're just seeing what you got. Who knows? They may have tried like 450 raids and gotten 50 kills, or they may have only tried like 80 and gotten 50 kills. You really don't know what you're getting into. So I do think at lower KCs, teams are hard to find. At higher KCs, they're not as hard to find, but another trouble that you'll have is trying to keep a team together. Typically, you need 4 or 5 people for a raid, and if one person goes, then you kind of have to find a +1, and it's not as easy as it would seem to be to find one. So that's one thing I really do have troubles with, but if that's my biggest gripe with Raids 2, I feel like that's pretty minor. Now, as far as my personal enjoyment of Theater of Blood and why I like it and why I think you guys would enjoy it as well, is it's something that while it is a constant sequence, like with Raids 1, you have like every raid can be different really. With Theater of Blood, it's the same rotation every time, but the bosses are always actually kind of challenging, and if you have people that might not know what they're doing, it's always kind of fun to watch people playing. Unless you're splitting, it's kind of cringy then. But either way, there's a lot of attention that you have to pay to do it, so I feel like you're kind of always entertained in a way while you're doing theater. In addition to that, I really do find Verzik to be one of those things in game where it's a joy to try to learn it. I think that maybe over time the Inferno is much like that, but it's not something I'm really into. I find Verzik to be a little easier to get into and kind of get the hang of, and it's fun to really try to perfect how you go about killing it. I also really enjoy how they go about dropping items in Raids 2. I find it is a really entertaining way of doing it. Basically, you come out of the chamber, you enter this room, and then you see basically every chest, and if one is lit up, that means you have a drop. So there's that first initial boost of excitement, and then once you see the drop, then there's kind of another, then there's another level you go to where you're like, holy shit, we got a drop. This could be 3 mil, it could be 40 mil. I don't know how to feel right now, and then you open it, and it's probably not Scythe, and then you're probably depressed. Like, sometimes I'll open it up, and we'll see a staff, and it's like, hell yeah, but at the same time, you're like, damn, man, I wish it was a Scythe. Hey. Not bad. So now I'll go through the drops that I've gotten up until this point. I won't talk about every one of them, just the notable ones. So I started off with a 6KC staff split, and that was 60 mil a pop. So at that point, I was really hyped. Obviously 6 raids in to make 60 mil, I'm very happy with. Only to then be topped by getting a Scythe split at what was 15 KC. It wasn't in my name, and it was an 850 mil split. It was absolutely sick. We all trust traded it after, which was just a really cool thing, It was cool. I liked it. I then followed it up with a couple Justicar pieces before getting my first hilt in a 40 mil split, followed then by Rapier at 52 KC where I got 122 mil, and at that point I'd seen all the weapons, which I thought was really, really cool. Then from 52 KC, it kind of slowed down. Like, I got a couple hilt splits and then Justicar splits up until 123 KC where I got a free-for-all hilt. I decided to use the hilt instead of selling it because at that point I still only had a Dragon Defender, and I kind of always promised myself that if I got a hilt free-for-all, you know, I may as well just use it. I could have sold it for 110 mil, so that was pretty cool. At that point I'd only gotten 2 items in my name and the other one was a hilt, only to then be followed by 3 kills later. I got another hilt in my name. This one was a split though, so I only got 27 mil, and then 9 kills after that I got a staff in my name for another 45 mil. So at that point I got 3 drops in my name and 12 kills, which was pretty crazy. And then the latest one I have gotten was another hilt split that was in a duo for 55 mil. So my theoretical results of 145 KC should be 960 mil on average. However, I got 500 mil more and I came in at 1.46 bill. Now I did use 100 mil of that on my defender, but still obviously a lot of money as far as splits go. If I would have done all free-for-all for these raids, I only would have gotten 480 mil, which would have been pretty much a bill less, and that would have been very depressing, so that's just all luck. If you're someone that doesn't know whether or not you should do free-for-alls or splits, I'm just going to tell you that people in free-for-alls are typically a lot worse. Once you get above 100 KC, it's not too bad. Everyone pretty much knows what they're doing, but at low KCs, it's terrible. I feel like Discord is really important and team communication is really important for low KC, so I'd say for the most part, stay away from it if you're under 100. Once you go past 100, it's really up to you. If you think you're better than a lot of the teams that you've been going with, then go ahead and do a free-for-all because they're just weighing you down and them dying is going to make you less money an hour. But you do have to understand with that though, there's a high variance, so just as easily as you could make bank, you could also absolutely make nothing for 150 kills, and that's just the way it rolls. So that's it. That's like my last 1.5 months at Theater of Blood. I don't do it all the time. I probably do like 3 or 4 raids a day, you know, like a consistent 2 hours of it. I section it out. It's pretty fun though, and it has absolutely been a blast on my account. My bank's gone from 800 mil to almost 2.1 bill. I've also invested into skills like prayer, herb lore, crafting. I'm going to get construction soon. It really just has changed everything about my account. I'm at a really good cash point and I've just been having an absolute blast with it. So if any of you guys are on the fence, at least now you know what my experience has been and whether or not I'd recommend it to you, which obviously I would. So with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys like seeing a little bit of progress. If you did, let me know down below in a comment and leave a like as well. And if you want to see more from me in the future, make sure to hit that sub button. But with that said, bye, have a great time.